Hey y'all, and welcome back to the party. It's your girl BrittReacts, and today we are reacting via a kind donation to George Carlin flying. This is live from NYC in 1992. Let's see what he has to say. All right, let's go.
Something else we have in common: flying on the airlines and listening to the airlines announcements and trying to pretend to ourselves that the language they're using is really English. Doesn't seem like it to me. Whole thing starts when you get to the gate. First announcement: we would like to begin the boarding process. Extra word, process, not necessary. Boarding is enough. We'd like to begin the boarding. Simple, tells the story. People add extra words when they want things to sound more important than they really are. Boarding process sounds important. It isn't. It's just a bunch of people getting on an airplane. People like to sound important. Weathermen on television talk about shower activity. Sounds more important than showers.
I've never heard that
CNN
before.
Talk about a rain event. Swear to God. He said, Louisiana's expecting a rain event. I thought, holy shit, I hope I can get tickets to that.
My absolute favorite thing about George Carlin is that the everyday things that we all hear, like I've probably heard all of those things, but they don't stick, right? It's just like, okay, whatever. But now I'm going to hear them and I'm immediately going to be like, why? Why? Next time I get on a flight, I'm like, yeah, why are you saying boarding process? We're about to board this flight. Like, this is so true. He finds these nuances in life that are so unnecessary, and then he harps on them, and he's so aggy. He's like the most aggravated old man, and I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him.
Expecting a rain event. I thought, holy shit, I hope I can get tickets to that.
Hope it's not sold out.
Emergency situation. News people like to say police have responded to an emergency situation. No, they haven't. They've responded to an emergency. We know it's a situation. Everything is a situation. Anyway, as part of this boarding process, they say, we would like to pre-board. Well, what exactly is that anyway? What does it mean to pre-board? You get on before you get on?
I'm going to be side-eyeing everyone now. Like, is that
That's
necessary?
another complaint of mine. Too much use of this prefix pre. It's all over the language now. Pre this, pre that. Place the turkey in a preheated oven. It's ridiculous. There are only two states an oven can possibly exist in: heated or unheated. Preheated is a meaningless fucking term. It's so like pre-recorded. True. This program was pre-recorded. Well, of course it was pre-recorded. When else are you going to record it? Afterwards? That's the whole purpose of recording, to do it beforehand.
Oh,
otherwise, it doesn't really work, does it?
Doesn't really work, does it? George!
Pre-existing, pre-planning, pre-screening. You know what I tell these people? Pre-suck my genital situation. And they seem to understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, as part of this pre-boarding, they say, we would like to pre-board those passengers traveling with small children. Well, what about those passengers traveling with large children? Suppose you have a 2-year-old with a pituitary disorder. You know, a 6-foot infant.
A 6-foot infant? I just realized he said... Oh, man. Yeah, they've kind of cracked down on that, though. This was obviously in 92, but now they like, it has to be children under like 5. My daughter is 8, and I'm like, no, we're still pre-boarding this thing. Are you kidding? Get in line, girl. Because honestly, at the end of the day, children need more time. They're just going to be in the way. If they board with everyone else, they're going to slow the process down. I fully am on board with airlines for doing that. But like to cut it off at a certain age, it's like maybe 12. 12 feels like a good age to cut it off. But like, I'm pulling my daughter, dragging her until they physically stand in front of me and stop me. I'm just letting you know.
Suppose you have a 2-year-old with a pituitary disorder. You know, a 6-foot infant with an oversized head. Kind of kid you see in the National Enquirer all the time. Actually, with a kid like that, I think you're better off checking him right in with your luggage at the curb, don't you? Well, they like it under there. It's dark. They're used to that. About this time, someone is telling you to get on the plane. Get on the plane, get on the plane. I say, fuck you, I'm getting in the plane. In the plane.
I don't want to get on it. I want to get in it.
Let Evel Knievel get on the plane. I'll be in here with you folks in uniform. There seems to be less wind in here. They might tell you you're on a non-stop flight. Well, I don't think I care for that. No, I insist that my flight stop. Preferably at an airport. It's those sudden, unscheduled cornfield and housing development stops that seem to interrupt the flow of my day.
Is English the only language where we do this? We just add unnecessary words to fill the space? Really, I don't know. Other than there are times where people fill it with words to sound smarter or more educated. But in these situations, in everyday life situations, are we the only language that does stuff like this? I'm never going to say preheat the oven again. Turn the oven on. Just turn the oven on to 375. Preheat. And I also want to be clear, I'm one of those people who I don't preheat the oven. I turn the oven on and I put that food in there and let it heat up with the oven. Guilty as all get out. I want you to know, Your Honor, I'm on the stand and I'm telling you, I do it. I'm preheating.
That seemed to interrupt the flow of my day. Here's one they just made up. Near miss. When two planes almost collide, they call it a near miss. It's a near hit.
Right. It's more of a near hit than
anything. A collision is a near miss. Look, they nearly missed.
They almost missed each other. This is so true. George?
Yes, but not quite. They might tell you your flight has been delayed because of a change of equipment. Broken plane. Tell me to put my seat back forward. Well, I don't bend that way. If I could put my seat back forward, I'd be in porno movies. Then they mentioned carry-on luggage. First time I heard carry-on, I thought they were going to bring a dead deer on board. I thought, what the hell do they mean with that? Don't they have the little TV dinners anymore? Then I thought, carry on, there's going to be a party. People are going to be carrying on the plane. Well, I don't care for that. I like a serious attitude on the plane, yes. Especially on the flight deck, which is the latest euphemism for cockpit. Can't imagine why they wouldn't want to use a lovely word like cockpit, can you? Especially with all those stewardesses going in and out of it all the time.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
There's a word that's changed. Stewardess. First it was hostess.
Yeah, they have changed a lot of words on planes to just be more inclusive. You definitely don't say stewardess anymore. It's like, I think it's just flight attendant now. I've never heard hostess, so that must have been like before I really began like flying on my own. Maybe when I was younger. I've never heard them call them hostesses though. Like that's only I've ever heard that in a restaurant. This is just so painfully true. And I'm never going to be able to fly the same. I'm always going to think of this now in the airport. The entire process is being imploded for me, obliterated, if you will.
There's a word that's changed. Stewardess. First it was hostess, then stewardess, now it's flight attendant. You know what I call them? The lady on the plane.
And now there's so many men.
Now.
Yeah.
That's good equality. I'm all in favor of that.
There's so many men.
Sometimes they actually refer to these people as uniformed crew members.
Oh, yeah, crew members.
Uniformed.
Delta
as opposed to that guy
members.
sitting next to you in the Grateful Dead t-shirt and the fuck you hat. Who's working on his 9th little bottle of Kahlua, I might add.
Ew, 9 bottles of Kahlua?
As soon as they close the door to the aircraft,
sounds like
that's when they begin
gas.
The safety lecture.
Farts.
I love the safety lecture. This is my favorite part of the airplane ride. I listen very carefully to the safety lecture, especially that part where they teach us how to use the seat belts. Imagine this. Here we are, a plane full of grown human beings, many of us partially educated, and they're actually taking time out to describe the intricate workings of a belt buckle. Place the small metal flap into the buckle. Well, I asked for clarification at that point.
In their defense, the buckles, if you've never ridden a plane before, it could be, they're not like a seat. You don't just click it in, and adjusting maybe, like, in their defense. But also, this is a liability issue. If they don't explain it to you and something happens on a plane and you say, well, I didn't get the proper information on how to work this, you know how many, it's going down. I would own Delta, like the way I would sue them. So I get it. But I also get what he's saying. It's like, can we not figure this out without the 20-minute tutorial?
Buckle. Well, I asked for clarification at that point. Over here, please. Over here. Yes, thank you very much. Did I hear you correctly? Did you say place the small metal flap into the buckle, or place the buckle over and around the small metal flap? I'm a simple man. I do not possess an engineering degree, nor am I mechanically inclined. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. Please continue with the wonderful safety lecture. Seatbelt. High-tech shit. The safety lecture continues. The next thing they do, they tell you to locate your nearest emergency exit. I do this immediately.
I do this.
I locate my nearest emergency exit, and then I plan my route. You have to plan your route. It's not always a straight line, is it? Sometimes there's a really big fat fuck sitting right in front of you. Well, you know you'll never get over him. I look around for women and children, midgets and dwarfs, cripples, war widows, paralyzed veterans, people with broken legs, anybody who looks like they can't move too well. The emotionally disturbed come in very handy at a time like this. You might have to go out of your way to find these people, but you'll get out of the plane a lot goddamn quicker, believe me. I say, let's see. I'll go around the fat fuck, step on the widow.
Okay, serious question in the comments. Has anyone ever been in a situation where your plane has had to implement these actual safety measures? Like an emergency landing or anything like that? I've never been, nothing like this, but I've been on a flight where there was an emergency landing because of a medical issue. And because we've almost run out of fuel, but never having to activate, like, finding your nearest exit. I'm just wondering, like, has anyone, how frequent does that actually happen? You know what I mean? I don't feel like we hear much about it on the news, but it doesn't mean it's not happening. I don't know. I just wonder. Let me know in the comments if you or you know someone who's actually ever had to go through the process of using those steps. And did they come in handy? Were they actually followed? Because I feel like in the case of an emergency, all of that goes out the window and it's like, figure it out. Just everyone's everywhere. Chaos, right? That's scary.
I say, let's see. I'll go around the fat fuck, step on the widow's head, push those children out of the way, knock down the paralyzed midget, and get out of the plane where I can help others.
Right? I'll be out here if y'all need help. I'll be over here in the water if you need help.
I can be of no help to anyone if I'm lying unconscious in the aisle with some big cocksucker standing on my head. I must get out of the plane, go to a nearby farmhouse, have a Dr. Pepper, and call the police.
I love Dr. Pepper.
The safety lecture continues. In the unlikely event... This is a very suspect phrase, especially coming as it does from an industry that is willing to lie about arrival and departure times. In the unlikely event of a sudden change in cabin pressure.
Is it unlikely?
Roof flies off. An oxygen mask will drop down in front of you. Place the mask over your face and breathe normally.
He flies a lot. He flies a lot.
Well, I have no problem with that. I always breathe normally when I'm in a 600-mile-an-hour uncontrolled vertical dive. I also shit normally. Right in my pants!
Oh, my gosh.
They tell you to adjust your oxygen mask before helping your child with his. I did not need to be told that. In fact, I'm probably going to be too busy screaming to help him at all. This will be a good time for him to learn self-reliance. If he can program his fucking VCR.
he can put a
goddamn
mask on.
jolly well learn to adjust an oxygen mask. Fairly simple thing, just a little rubber band in the back is all it is. Not nearly as complicated as, say, for instance, a seatbelt. The safety lecture continues.
It's crazy.
In the unlikely
this
event
is crazy how real this
of
is.
a water landing.
Excuse me? A what?
Well, what exactly is a water landing? Am I mistaken, or does this sound somewhat similar to crashing into the ocean?
This sounds like a
Your seat
submarine.
cushion can be used as a flotation device.
I don't ever want to try
Well,
and see if that
imagine that.
works.
My seat cushion. Just what I need to float around the North Atlantic for several days, clinging to a pillow.
You know what he didn't touch on was the fact that they say you put the air mask on, and even if it is inflating, air is flowing. And that always confuses me because I'm like, no, I need to be super clear that the air is flowing. I need that bag to be inflating and in all that. I need to see my hot air going in there. Like, what do you mean air is still flowing? And if, like George said, the roof comes off, because that's what would happen when the cabin pressure drops. Are those masks actually going to drop down, or will the roof be gone? Questions that need answers.
Full of beer farts.
Oh, man. Beer fart sounds funky.
The flight continues. A little later on, toward the end, we hear, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Well, who gives a shit who turned it on? What does that have to do with anything? It's
the
on,
captain
isn't
said
it? And who made this man a captain? Might I ask? Did I sleep through some sort of an armed forces swearing-in ceremony or something? Captain, he's a fucking pilot, and let him be happy with that. But those sightseeing announcements are any mark of his intellect, he's lucky to be working at all. Tell the captain, Air Marshal Carlin says, go fuck yourself.
Oh my gosh.
The next sentence I hear is full of things that piss me off. Before leaving the aircraft, please check around your immediate seating area for any personal belongings you might have brought on board. Well, let's start with immediate seating area. Seat! It's a goddamn seat! Check around your seat for any personal belongings.
For your stuff.
But what other kinds of belongings are there besides personal? Public belongings? Do these people honestly think I might be traveling with a fountain I stole from the park?
If you've ever left anything on the plane, though, you might appreciate this announcement. Just as a reminder, I am like obsessive about making sure I have all of my stuff. Like, I check every nook and cranny underneath my seat, the seat in front of me, like underneath, because you know things can fall backwards. I'm like obsessive about it. I had a friend that left like a brand new MacBook on her. She was in the front, you know, where they don't have the tray tables that come down, so she left it in a pocket. And when she ran back to the plane, it was gone. Like, they let her back on the plane to see if the laptop was there, and it was gone. Nope, devastating.
Stole from the park? You might have brought on board. Well,
He's
I
breaking
might
down the
have brought my
entire
arrowhead
phrase.
collection.
You might
I didn't. So I'm not going to look for it. I'm going to look for things I brought on board. Would seem to enhance the likelihood of my finding something, wouldn't you say? Telling me to return my seat back and tray table to their original upright positions? Fine. Who's going to return this guy in the Grateful Dead t-shirt and the fuck you hat to his original upright position?
time?
About this time, they tell you you'll be landing shortly. That sound to you like we're going to miss the runway? Final approach is not very promising either, is it? Final is not a good word to be using on an airplane. Sometimes the pilot will get on and say, we'll be on the ground in 15 minutes. Well, that's a little vague, isn't it? Now we're taxiing in. She says, welcome to O'Hare International Airport. Well, how can someone who is just arriving herself possibly welcome me to a place she isn't even at yet? Doesn't this violate some fundamental law of physics? We're only on the ground 4 seconds. She's coming on like the fucking mayor's wife. Where the local time... Well, of course it's the local time. What did you think we were expecting? The time in Pango Pango?
Is that a place? Pango Pango?
Enjoy your stay in Chicago or wherever your final destination might be. All destinations are final. That's what it means. Destiny, final. If you haven't gotten where you're going, you aren't there yet.
I don't know. That one I get. Like if you have a layover.
The captain has asked. More shit from the bogus captain. You know, for someone who's supposed to be flying an airplane, he's taking a mighty...
I guess they do feel like by saying the captain, it's more authoritative. Like maybe we'll all listen more because the captain has put on the seatbelt sign or the captain has decided. When really in all actuality, I'm with George. It's like you could just deliver the message and we're either going to do it or we're not. I don't care who the message comes from.
You know, for someone who's supposed to be flying an airplane, he's taking a mighty big interest in what I'm doing back here. That you remain seated until he has brought the aircraft to a complete stop. Not a partial stop.
A complete.
Because during a partial stop, I partially get up.
Stop.
Continue to observe the no smoking sign until well inside the terminal.
You can smoke in the terminal?
It's physically impossible to observe the no smoking sign, even if you're standing just outside the door of the airplane. Much less well inside the terminal. You can't even see the fucking planes from well inside the terminal.
The planes.
Which brings me to terminal. Another unfortunate word to be used in association with air travel.
Oh my.
And they use it all over the airport, don't they? Somehow I just can't get hungry at a place called the Terminal Snack Bar. But if you've ever eaten there, you know it is an appropriate name.
Never thought about it. Never thought about that. Why would we name it a terminal? Thank you.
Okay.
I love his little 1 foot bow that he does. Like shaky bow. I will never be able to fly and experience the airport the same. Never. And with that, friends, I bid thee adieu. Go have the day you deserve. Peace.